Voters are hearing from Kamala Harris. That's how you win
about
elections.
What?
She's speaking directly to voters. She's telling
but
them
about what?
I will tell you if you let me.
In this video, a former comms director who supports Kamala Harris is left puzzled after Fox News asked this question. This is the Devori Darkins Show. I believe this video will represent exactly what more Republicans need to do when they come into contact with people who are supporting Kamala Harris. I'd even encourage you guys to use this tactic. And the tactic is just good old-fashioned asking questions. And when you ask these people on the left and people who support Kamala Harris questions, they draw a blank, right? And that's what we want them to do, because when they draw a blank, we know at that point they start to think and the math is no longer mathing. And we want that because maybe they'll go back home and rethink their support for Kamala Harris. And just so you understand who's in this video, you got Kaylee McGee, who is an editor for the Washington Examiner. And you have this gentleman by the name of Jonathan Cott, who is a former comms director. Let's play the clip.
But I want to focus, first of all, on what she said at the very end. I've been talking to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month. She said that on August the 8th. There's a lot of month left.
It is remarkable that she has not already begun taking questions and holding press conferences. And her entire campaign strategy at this point seems to be fake it until you make it. She wants to be shielded. She doesn't want to have to answer these questions. And it's remarkable that not a single leftist media outlet has pointed out that if you go to Kamala Harris's campaign website right now, there is not a single page dedicated to a policy position. It's only donation tabs. So if you as a voter wanted to learn what Kamala Harris's policies were, you would not even be able to at this point.
Right. Okay. So here's what J.D. Vance had to say to the press about the fact that Kamala Harris wasn't answering any of their questions. Listen here.
Have they given you guys an explanation for why she won't take questions from reporters? No? Nobody? Okay.
He said, did they give you an explanation as for why she's not taking questions? Nobody answered, which again sort of speaks to the incurious nature of the folks who were following her around, that they don't seem to care.
Right. I don't think the Harris campaign is going to take advice from J.D. Vance, who took a bunch of questions after he was announced, and
I'm not saying the campaign. I'm not saying the campaign, but it's like the people who are following her on the road, the media following her on the road, they're not saying, why isn't she answering our questions? Why isn't she giving us availabilities?
They're not going to say that to J.D. Vance. He's asking them questions. They're reporters. They don't respond to him.
But their reporters talk to other people from the same organization.
And I'm sure they would love to get an interview with
I remember when I was...
All right, so two things. Obviously, we know this because we've been covering it for so many times already, that she refuses to take questions. We know why she's refusing to take questions. We know why the campaign won't let her take any questions, because it would be an utter failure and debacle on her behalf. Now, let's move to the second thing that's actually more important. Let's check out our website, where it doesn't list any policies, and we'll actually compare it to Donald Trump's website. Okay, so as you guys can see, front page comes up with a pop-up asking for people to donate. That's all standard, of course. Yeah, let's go up here and look at the navigation. Meet Kamala Harris, meet Tom Walz, take action, events, and store. Let's actually look at both of their bios just a tad bit and see what they have listed on here. What are you guys seeing already? This is funny to me. Let me zoom in. All right, this is already them leading with the old playbook of race and gender to get votes, right? So the whole civil rights is, you know, when you say civil rights, I guess you're supposed to get the black vote whenever you say that, but okay, whatever. She took the mission to county courtrooms, the California Attorney General's office, and the United States Senate and the White House, all liberal and progressive policies, by the way, but we've talked about that. She has a picture of her mom. Okay, cool. And here we go. This is where I wanted to highlight, and then we'll move over to Tim Walz. The Biden-Harris administration has received a historic record of accomplishment. See, pay attention, guys. It's all about them, not about the American people. It's about them and what they've accomplished, not what the American people have accomplished. Bringing our economy back from the brink of disaster. It's a disaster right now for a lot of Americans. Nearly 16 million new jobs. Of course, you're going to have millions of jobs because millions of jobs were lost when the whole country was shut down due to COVID. But hey, that's just common sense. Investing over $1 trillion in infrastructure projects like repairing roads and bridges, removing every lead pipe in America, improving public transit, and expanding access to high-speed internet. strengthening the Affordable Care Act, and lowering health insurance premiums to save Americans an average of $800 per year. All of this is false. All of it. Okay. The Affordable Care Act, health insurance premiums are at an all-time high. High-speed internet has not been any faster than it's been 4 years ago. Okay. The lead pipe, I haven't even heard of that, so I can't confirm on that. So maybe she's done that. Projects like repairing roads and bridges. I live in California, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you're on a major highway in California, it is always under construction. So there's that. And then expanding healthcare for veterans exposed to toxins. That is true. They have done that. I am a veteran, so I can confirm that. Now, let's go over to Tim Walz's bio, which I'm really eager to see if they've updated it, because I know there's some false information in here. Oh, they did not update it. Okay, whatever. Governor Walz is a champion for American working families. He enlisted in the Army National Guard when he turned 17 and served for 24 years. Thank you for your service. Rising to the rank of Command Sergeant Major. This is misleading because, again, I tell the story all the time. I was an E7. I was a sergeant first class. I decided to become an officer. At the rank that I was going for was second lieutenant. I had to take 2 trainings in order to be a certified second lieutenant in the Army. I only took 1 and then I got out of the military. So I would never in my bio put, yeah, I rose to the rank of second lieutenant. No, I rose to the rank of E7. That's what I was certified as. So it's already misleading. Let's see here. We'll keep going down here. As Governor Tim Walz cut taxes for working families, that is a lie. Taxes are at an all-time high, which is why businesses have been leaving Minnesota. It is not a business-friendly state. They have a lot of taxes for local businesses, so that's a lie. Let's see here. Protected women's right to choose. What they really are saying is approving puberty blockers for children and allowing abortions without any limitation whatsoever. Remember, there's both sides to that conversation. And if you're being moderate, there is some type of restriction or limitation. If you're being moderate, he's not moderate whatsoever. And there is no limitation on that, which is crazy, right? And then they try to put in here, his experience makes him the ideal running mate for Kamala Harris, who has taken on the big banks, led the fight to reproductive freedom, and stood with our allies against Putin's aggression during her time as a prosecutor, attorney general, senator, and vice president. All of that is fabricated, of course, because let's be honest, the big banks have been bailed out since the beginning of time. If you want to go back to President Obama, there's 2 big things I have an issue with. The Obamacare and the fact that when he came into office, he allowed the banks to get away with murder, right? Because they are the ones who killed the economy back then. Led the fight for reproductive freedom. Okay, it's a buzzword, of course. Stood with our allies against Putin's aggression. Yeah, basically, you paid the man billions and billions of dollars, Ukraine that is, instead of paying our veterans and making it easy for our veterans to get paid our disability. You are funneling money to migrants, making sure that they can get money like that. You make it to where homeless people can get money like that. But when it comes to veterans, oh, it's like pulling teeth, so it's a slap in the face. Now, having said that, let's head over to President Trump's website, where the very first link in the navigation is what? Platform. And the platform details what his policies are. Let's go through them. Seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. Isn't that simple? He's done it before. 2, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. President Obama did that before. 3, end inflation and make America affordable again. Makes sense to me. 4, make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Absolutely. I don't even understand why this is even a Republican thing. This should be on both sides. Why is electricity more expensive than it's ever been? It makes no sense to me. Stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. Do I find that to be actually true and will likely happen? No, I don't believe it's going to happen because there's too many people in Washington that are going to lose money if that actually takes place. They make more money by outsourcing and making these deals with foreign entities than they would with local companies. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Should have already been that way, in my opinion. And so I can keep going on and on, but he's got 20 promises. And it even goes more into depth if we click on this button here, where it's the actual PDF document. But see, the news, they're not going to report on that. They're not going to talk about that. They're not going to say, well, hey, you know what? President Trump has Agenda 47 and it's on his website. You can take a look at it. Right? That's not being talked about. Right? What they're trying to do is, use this whole Project 2025 scare tactic to make people believe that that is his policies when he has this on his website. But anyways, let's get back to what this clown had to say.
Well, that's the thing is, Kamala Harris's campaign strategy is a smart political move, but it doesn't make any sense for reporters whose job is to get answers to very tough questions that the public deserves to know. Why are they allowing Kamala Harris's campaign to do this? That should be the concern for everyone who cares about an inquisitive and free press.
Yeah, I was on the 2020 campaign. Forgot that one.
I would just say this. Voters are hearing from Kamala Harris. That's how you win
About
elections.
what?
She's speaking directly to voters. She's telling them
about what?
I will tell you if you let me. She's telling them her vision for the country and Tim Walz's vision for the
includes what
country.
Policies?
She is laying them out. You should watch one of the rallies. They talk about them extensively.
I have. They're very scripted. She reads from the teleprompter. She repeats the exact same speech every time. And she has not mentioned a single policy that she plans to implement. It's a serious problem.
So as you can see, he has no answers. He was absolutely puzzled. He couldn't even articulate why it would make sense why she's not even taking any questions. So I don't think he should be going on Fox News anytime soon. But I digress. And so it brings me to the point of the video where you'll leave a lot of people puzzled if you just ask questions like, why? What do you mean by that? Can you give me an example? Right? Like, it's really that simple. And when they went out there and asked swing voters about Kamala Harris and what her top accomplishments were, their answers were interesting. Let's take a look.
As vice president, I really don't. I know that she was sent to the border, and from what I hear in the news and stuff, she didn't accomplish much with that. But I don't know of many vice presidents that, at least, they probably do accomplish some things, but I never hear of it.
Actually, I couldn't even tell you what the biggest accomplishment is for her. I don't really pay attention to the news that much.
It's really difficult to say beyond her just being there what her biggest accomplishment is. For me personally, Palestine continues to be something that's heavy on my mind. And my rights as a woman in Arizona continue to be heavy on my mind. So it's not so much about her accomplishments and more about what she can do to ensure that my child, who's 14 years old, is going to have the same rights that I had that were recently taken away from me.
Unfortunately, I think she's been too much in the background of a vice president and not too much involved, with President Biden. I think she should have stepped up a few notches to be more involved as vice president. So I think that will kind of hurt her.
Can you name a few of her accomplishments?
No, I can't.
What are some of her accomplishments?
I will say that everything that I've seen, I don't think that,
She has none.
no.
I honestly don't think she has any. The 4 years that she was in office as vice president, I didn't hear her speak once until like last week. So that's kind of my take on it.
There you go. See, there's a lot of people who feel like that in the swing vote states. And that's why I'm saying that it's really just going to come down to whoever's really effective at highlighting their opponent's weaknesses. And right now, most Americans understand what they're getting with President Trump. They know he's going to say what he thinks. They know that. They've been through that already. They just want to hear more policy. And that's why President Trump has the advantage over her. And so when you have these Kamala Harris surrogates or puppets that go onto the news, they're so puzzled. They don't know what to say because there isn't anything to say. They have nothing to stand on except a manufactured campaign, manufactured enthusiasm, and they have an entire media behind them, which is why it looks that way, but it doesn't mean it is, because when you see clips like that where you actually go out there and ask swing voters about Kamala Harris, they are also puzzled. So that is my mindset about this. What about you? What do you guys think about the fact that this gentleman went on to Fox News and pretty much was puzzled when he was asked a simple question of what policies? What do you mean by that? Give us an example. And he had nothing to say. And none of them will ever have anything to say until she finally comes out and shares what her agenda is. And what do you think about the fact that President Trump has an agenda? It's on his website. He does talk about it most of the time, but the news focuses on the 10% of the time where he's, launching his character and personal attacks of Kamala Harris. That's all they focus on. They don't focus on the other 90% of the speech. But I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are more in the comment section below. Thank you for checking out the video today. Stay grateful, stay focused, and stay true. Peace.